take a minute. Okay, you guys are good to go.
Hi.
Hey, Susan.
How are you?
Good. I missed us last week, but it was a good week to take a break. We've done 10 episodes, almost like a season. So it was good to have a little break, but I'm glad to be back.
So we're season 2.
Season 2.
And we have Lauren with us. She's one of our youth board members. And maybe we'll get a chance to talk about that later. But Lauren is doing some really cool stuff through the Girl Scouts. She's working on her gold, and she's using us as her nonprofit, which is awesome. I held her when she was a baby, so it's nice to have this continue. And Worth, who's on the board, I think you met Worth. I knew him when he was 2. So
Worth. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
yeah, he just graduated high school.
So
But
that's
anyway.
how we recruit people to one library at a time. Just put them in Susan's arms when they're a baby, and then they'll come up and start helping one library.
I'll whisper, join one library at a time. Join one library at a
The
time.
book whisperer. That's what Susan is, the book whisperer.
Well, tell me about gold. How does Girl Scouts work as opposed to like Boy Scouts?
So you start, well, I started out as a brownie, which is like the second level of Girl Scouting, and you can start whenever. But the first troop level is called being a daisy. And so those are like the 5-year-olds, and you just kind of progress. And once you become a junior Girl Scout, you can start getting awards. So you start with your bronze award, which is a pretty low level award.
When did you get that?
I was in like 3rd grade or 4th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. And for that, I think my troop, we made, I don't know if you know, like the Nature Museum, like near Freedom Park, we made like fairy houses in this like little space that just like was kind of dirty. And so we tried to make it pretty for the Nature Museum. So we just like built fairy houses out of like tree bark and stuff like that. And it's still there today. So like the big thing about Girl Scouts is like your projects have to be sustainable and stay there. And so you don't have to continue it on. And so then after that, I was a cadet. So that's like middle school age. And I got my silver award. And for that, I worked with Alexander Youth Network. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're another organization that works with kids with disabilities. And so if they have trouble at home or a disability, they can stay there and like go to school there, I think.
I worked with United Cerebral Palsy when I was in high school.
Oh, really?
And it was a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure you're being exposed to people who have special needs,
Mm-hmm.
To be able to function in this wacky world we live in. It's always pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so for that project, we there's this endangered bird species called the brown-headed nuthatch. And so for that project, we made a curriculum. It was me and one of my friends, because when you're younger, you can work in a group for your project. And we made a curriculum about the endangered bird. And then there's this certain type of birdhouse that you can make that has like a hole small enough for them because they're a really small bird that like snakes can't get in, because like lots of times the snakes will hurt them. And then we put birdhouses up at Alexander Youth Network for the birds. So hopefully we helped the bird species. But yeah, and then once you're in high school, it gets more serious, and the Gold Award is like the final end all be all award in Girl Scouting, and it's equal to the Eagle Scout pretty much for Boy Scouts. And
is that the only one that you have to do alone?
Yes.
Is that the only one you kind of have to do?
You can do the
Yeah.
other alone, but normally, like, since you're younger, it's easier to like do it with your troop or with a friend so that you can work together on it.
Okay.
What's a fairy house?
Well, it's just it's more for like younger kids. Like the fairies are supposed to come live in the house. Like it's just because younger kids go to the nature center, they can like look at it and be like, oh, the fairies live in there. Like it's just kind of cute for younger kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how old were you? I know you were probably in around kindergarten because you were talking about that, but how old were you when you got in the beginning?
I started in second grade actually because the
Oh,
first
okay.
level is daisies, but I was never a daisy. I just like I didn't even know about Girl Scouts when I was that young. But I started as a brownie in second grade, so it's been 9 years.
Wow.
It's been a long time, but yeah, it's been 9 years since
That's a big commitment.
Yeah, it has been, but it can be hard to motivate sometimes because just like the amount of time I've been doing it, it's just like it's a slow process to get to where I am. But I just remember like when I was younger, hearing about the Gold Award and always just wanting to be like the girls that I would see walk across the stage at the award ceremonies getting their gold because it's just such an honorable thing to accomplish. And so I think just like that motivation of getting here. And then now I'm here, I just have to do the project. So yeah.
Do you think that even back then when you were seeing them, you were thinking that you wanted to be in it for the long haul? Or do you think it was a sort of step by step?
I just thought they were cool.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, I want to be like them. But I mean, I don't think I ever thought like, oh, well, I mean, this isn't that fun. I'm just going to drop out. I was always like, I wanted to continue to that.
And at this stage, are you still have like a group that you meet with? I mean, I know you're on this solo path for the Gold Award, but are you still doing?
Yeah, as you get older, just like people drop out. I mean, when I was a brownie, we had a troop of like 20 or 30 girls, and that was like a big group. But just as you get older, people have other commitments and they leave the troop. And so now our troop has 3 people.
Hey.
Yeah, it's been a big change from going like, sitting in a room with a circle of 30 girls to now like only having 3. And I think it can be good to like get to know each other better and stuff. Like when we go on trips, it's just us 3 and we're all good friends. But yeah, and then one of the girls who's in my troop, you know her, Olivia Martella.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has been doing it since I have. So we've known each other. I mean, we've known each other since we were 6 months old, but it's just been like a really good like bonding experience to always have Girl Scouts together. Yeah.
That's interesting. And so for the Gold World, is there an hour commitment or how does it all work?
Yes, you're supposed to get 80 hours. And then there are a lot of other requirements. Like I said earlier, sustainability is a really big thing in Girl Scouts. So you want your project to continue on after you're not overseeing it anymore. So with my project that I'm working with you guys for, it's, sustainable through you guys because you guys are going to continue my project. So.
Yeah, and I'm honored that you chose one library at a time. I could get all teary, but it is so important to me to have youth board members, and you have gone above and beyond what I generally expect from youth board members.
Thank you.
And we try not to take up too much time, but it's another commitment you have. So I really appreciate you putting the time in. And I'm looking forward to helping make it more sustainable because it is something in Charlotte, which is where our headquarters, if you want to call it that. But this is where one library at a time, has 50 million books and our suitcases and all the things we need to run the business of one library at a time. And it's definitely it's a help me,
Collaborative.
collaboration. It takes a village
Yeah.
to make it happen. And Holly, you and your mom, where were you going to go with me?
I think it was going to be Peru is what we were going to.
And, unfortunately, with COVID,
Hopefully summer.
that trip got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And, even after you get your gold, I still would love for you to travel with us.
Of course. Yeah.
Because it's different, isn't it, Rachel?
Come back with some stories, that's for sure.
Yeah, we do things and see things that normal. In fact, there's a difference between what do they call it? But we're travelers, rather than
Tourists.
vacation. Yeah, we're travel rather than tourists. And so we get to see
real life,
the people in the countries.
Yeah.
Which is very, very powerful and very humbling experience. Yeah.
Can we dig in a little bit to your project, Lauren, and kind of get some detail, because I don't even know all the ins and outs of it. So kind of where the project's focused, and then what your vision is. How did you come up with this?
So it starts out with Collinswood, which was my elementary and middle school. It's a Spanish immersion school. And that's kind of how I got the interest for like Spanish books specifically, because it's not like we're collecting books in like English or in French, it's in Spanish. And so the way that I kind of like had the idea for it was because I'm in the IB program at Myers Park. And when you're a sophomore, you have to do your personal project, which is a project based on like your interests. And it can be anything. And there are a lot of different ideas for it. But I wanted to create a book drive at Collinswood just because of my connections there. And once I did more research on like the literacy rates in certain like Spanish speaking countries, I just like realized how important it is, because we never hear about, the fact that Nicaragua has a literacy rate of 2/3. Like that's just unheard of. And so I think just looking at the statistics really made me more passionate about it. And so I created a small book drive at Collinswood in October of last year. And that kind of like got me thinking for my gold award that I wanted to do something similar. And so we're going to do hopefully another book drive at Collinswood for one library at a time. And so that's kind of going to be our test run for other book drives that we're trying to do. And a big part of the gold award is a ripple effect. So you don't want this to just be happening in Charlotte with Collinswood. You want it to be happening all around the world. And so my hope is that we're going to be able to get more contacts around the world. And through Collinswood, I know people in Costa Rica at a school, people in Spain and other Spanish-speaking countries. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to start something similar in those places and have them learn. And so it's not just a book drive. I'm also planning on making a video that teachers can show to students about one library at a time. I think I'm going to work on that with Miss Aldrich. And yeah, it'll just explain like what the goal is, because I mean, I think it's important for them to know what they're donating to and that they're not just giving away books. They're giving away books to people who really need them. Because I know that when I was like 3, my mom was reading to me and I knew how to read when I was 5. So it's just like, it's a completely different situation for people in other places. So it's just like important that we talk about it and know who we're giving to. So
yeah, and in a lot of our communities where we put libraries, there is no literacy or very little. The parents can't read, the grandparents can't read. So, and we go off grid. And so literacy is one of the things that we're really looking at. We want to put books in the hands of children.
Right.
And it sounds like that's what you're tapping into, is that literacy rate and changing, changing things. I also read very early, and I still use books to escape. Right. And I think children in developing countries need to escape even more than we do.
Right.
You mentioned Nicaragua. We were supposed to go to Nicaragua. Yeah, we were supposed to go there. I'm having trouble speaking today. And like 6 weeks, I think it was, before we were to leave, a civil war broke out. And we couldn't go. And I was very upset about that, because I thought, during a civil war, the kids need books more than ever, because they need to be able to open Little House on the Prairie, or C.S. Lewis's Chronicles of Narnia, or Harry Potter, anything to take them out of the war that's raging around them. And we use Peace Corps. We use Peace Corps to help determine the safety of a community. And right now, Peace Corps, Rachel, you were Peace Corps. How many years?
It's a little over 2.
And then, but Peace Corps worldwide, they sent them all home. There are no Peace Corps workers in the world, which is really sad. But we're still moving forward, getting ready. And probably around Christmas time, hopefully I can talk to you and your mom, and we can decide where a good place would be that's safe.
Yeah. How was the first book drive? I mean, I know Susan's told me that we've already gotten some of those resources. How were the results? Did you was it were they pretty receptive? And
so the plan was to talk to the Collinswood counselors to get them to be able to put a flyer out in the classrooms and have the teachers tell the students hey, this book drive is going on, get your parents to give your old Spanish books, because a 7th grader isn't still going to be reading their Spanish books from when they were in kindergarten. So we could use those donations. But it was really hard to hear back from them, because they do an exchange trip every year, and it was going on right then. And they had students from Spain coming, so they were just really busy. So my mom was on the PTA while I was at Collinswood, and I ended up using some of her contacts and just sending an email out to all of them explaining what I was doing. And so it ended up being instead of being at the school, because it was people from the school, but it didn't happen at the school. I don't know if you've seen, I think the Boy Scouts do this. They'll put a paper bag at your door. You can donate canned foods, and then they'll come pick it up. So it was very similar to that, but it was more personal because we emailed everyone. And so we dropped off the bags, and it took a while. It took 3 hours to go to all the houses. And so then a week later, we would go back to the house, and it would be filled with books, which was really nice. And there were people who donated 30 books.
Wow.
So we ended up, I think we collected 300, I think.
I think it was more than that.
Oh, well, that's good.
Looking at my shelves. Yeah. And, it isn't always the number of books. It
was enough to start a library.
Exactly. So it was over $1,000 worth of books.
That's labor intensive. That sounds really, to go to each person's house. I mean,
yeah, there were people who lived really far from us, so it was a lot, but it was good for my driving practice because I'm trying to get my license. So I got some driving hours doing that. Yeah.
there we go.
Good. And when we have our party, we have signs that get put out, and guess who we get to put the signs out? Our youth board members.
Yes. Well, this is exciting. So whenever things open up again, are you hoping to do I know maybe a few more rounds? It seems like it's going to be an ongoing relationship with Collingsworth.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't know because we can't just keep asking for books because I mean people are going to run out of books. So I was hoping for it to be that it starts out at Collinswood and we like get all the logistics figured out.
Right.
And then there are other schools in Charlotte, like Oaklawn, and then I think East Language Academy or something like that. It's a newer school. But we're hoping to be able to do it through them and then eventually in other countries. And Collinswood is actually moving to another campus right now. So they're clearing out like their library and they're getting some new books. So I think they are hoping to donate some of their old Spanish books to.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
Yeah. That's really
that's really exciting. I'm just really impressed with your vision for sustainability. I mean, just the promise and the possibility of the project and your passion to even do it. It's really impressive. And I'm just excited that we get to be a part of it. I can't wait to see that video. That's going to be good marketing for One Library at a Time.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some notes. Oh yeah. And an aside, you are getting us new used books that we can take on our trips. We do always put new books in, and that's because I just feel like every kid deserves some new books. But there's also an organization called Better World Books, which I strongly recommend that you go there first before you go to Amazon. And they're used books, and they get them from the libraries, like the one you were talking about. Yeah. When a library is culling their stacks and are getting rid of some books to make room for new books, Better World Books receives those books. So they have English, Spanish, French, German, a multitude of languages. And so Barb Coyle, like right now in my office, I have 4 boxes full of books from Better World Books. They sent me a total of 9 boxes. So they are a great source. And their books are always in good shape. Always. They're used, but they're in good shape. And Barb Coyle at Better World Books is in charge of that. I talked to her yesterday. She's coming on next week. And we realized we've been working together for 5 years.
Wow.
And Barb says, I feel like I've known you forever. And I said, me too. But your mom, Holly, Lauren, your mom, Holly, actually at one of our auctions, she bought a gift certificate from Better World Books. Oh, really? And she graciously gave it to us. And then I sent it to Barb, and she sent me, I think it was $500 worth of books, something like that. Yeah. So they're just a great resource.
Yeah.
So if we
Your family's been helping us get the used books from One Library at a Time libraries for a while now.
Yeah, didn't they have their auction at our house one year?
We've had it 2 years at your parents' house, I'm pretty sure.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exciting. Well, this is cool that we've, Lauren's been, it's interesting to get to show people kind of where we get the books that we go to the country with. Cause like Susan said, we buy new stuff when we get down there, but we also take, good quality donated stuff. And so I think it's cool to see, like, we've gotten a lot of stuff from Lauren and this whole drive she's doing. Mm-hmm. And now, like Susan's saying, next week we'll get to talk to somebody else who sends us, they, for a lot of years, Susan, they've sent a lot of bulk items that we take.
Yeah, my neighbors will call me and say, Susan, there's about 7 boxes of books on your front porch. Did you know? And I'm like, no, thank you. Yeah, and the sustainability, I like that concept, and it would be amazing if you could connect us up with whoever at Collingswood, and then we could pick up where you left off,
right,
and continue to do book drives, once a year. Mm-hmm. Because like you said, kids outgrow the books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is an interesting to think about too, like that every couple of years we might could do a drive at the same school, but right, with a couple of years distance, because more kids will have outgrown different books,
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's really interesting. Well, I'm just excited. Thank you, Lauren, for
I'm very excited
being on, and thank you for the project that you've done with us. Excited to keep working, and excited.
Anything you need, just give us a call.
I will.
Email, text,
mm-hmm.
Whatever. And this will be on our Facebook page, One Library at a Time. It's Facebook page with a link. And I think, Paige, are you there?
Yes.
About when will that link go up?
To the YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, it's already there.
Oh. You're always one step ahead. Paige is our behind the scenes person who makes this whole thing happen. So everybody go look, and please share it with your friends. And Lauren, definitely share it with your troop and your leaders. And again, anything we can do. And we're looking forward to seeing the video.
Yes, I'm excited.
And we'll call you when we need things delivered.
That's right. That's right. Well, thanks for coming on. And next week, we hope to be with Barb from Better World.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Adios.